Hello, and welcome back to part 2 of the reviews for the Uncharted series I've been doing. Today we'll be looking at Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, and let's just get right into it. So, after the success of the first Uncharted game, Naughty Dog began to work on the second game pretty quick. I mean, people were hyped, and were ready to see where the story of Uncharted is gonna go. Okay, gentlemen. Uncharted 1 was a big success. We got a lot of sales. They approved us for a sequel. They told us we're going to be doing everything bigger and better. So, story, we need something new. We need something fresh. Give me some ideas.
Okay, so first we gotta start off with like an attention grabber.
Okay, so how about we do something like we put Nathan on a train. Okay, Nathan on a train, that could work. People will wonder, why is he there? Where is he going? Okay, just keep going.
And what if the chain is hanging off a cliff?
And it starts to fall while he's on it. Okay, train falling off a cliff, alright. And he has a bullet hole in his stomach. And he's got a bullet.
And then what? What if we follow that up with the worst part in the game?
You're a genius! So yeah, that's how the game starts. It's honestly pretty legendary and pretty much everybody talks about it when it comes down to this game, so let's move on for now. We find Drake chilling on some beach when he's approached by a guy we don't know. This guy's name is Flynn, and he and another thief, Chloe, have been hired by a very wealthy client to steal a small vase from a museum. The group at first wonders why they're stealing something so insignificant, but then Drake realizes this vase is connected to Marco Polo and that his client is attempting to find the lost treasure, the Chintamani Stone. The group decides to, let's just dick this guy over, and then we have this little scene where Chloe and Drake say they don't need Flynn, but Chloe reaffirms Drake, saying they'll get the treasure, split it 3 ways, and never see Flynn again. So, let's get into gameplay. Is what I would say, except, remember earlier? Yeah, this game is so good, except for the opening where you're forced to follow Flynn through the museum while pretty much nothing interesting happens. Luckily, they eventually added chapter selects to this game, so unless it's your first playthrough or you're like me and you need to play through it for recording, I'd honestly just skip over and just get straight into the gameplay. We get to the lamp and Drake finds a message hidden inside, but when we go to leave, there's a bit of a problem. Yeah, this time we're the ones being double-crossed. We get captured and put in jail, but eventually we get bailed out by Sully and Chloe. Yeah, Chloe. That's a little suspicious, but Chloe says she wasn't aware that Flynn was going to double-cross us, but she still wants to work together and screw him over instead. We agree and head over to where Flynn and his client are looking for the next clue, and this is where the game officially starts. We set up some C4, head to the main dig site, where we eventually get a closer look at this client that Flynn is looking for. Remember in Uncharted 1 where the villains were super boring and had no screen time? Well, that's not the case with Lazarevich. I mean, I know it's a pretty common trope, the whole leader shooting his own man, but this scene is honestly still pretty intense, and we kind of just get to see what a big piece of shit he is. After obtaining some documents, we get into a scuffle with some enemies. Now, the gameplay in the first game was simple, but it worked well for what it needed to do. But in Uncharted 2, they cranked that shit straight into overdrive. There's just more of everything. Weapons, enemy types, partners. It's all just on a grander scale, and it blends together seamlessly. Enemies are just a lot more aggressive, and they'll try to surround and pin Drake, leading you to actually have to risk moving around and scavenging for more ammo. And just the sheer amount of enemies in some of these engagements is insane. You'll start off an engagement moving one way, only to have reinforcements show up behind you, heavier enemies, guys with rocket launchers or shotguns just raining gunfire down you. The action from the first game has been pushed way further than what I was expecting. I'm not joking. While I was playing through the game literally just for footage, there was a firefight towards the end of the game that just would not end. Guys just kept coming and coming and coming, and I was just, what the fuck? And it really helps in terms of showing what we're up against here. I mean, in Uncharted 1, we were fighting armed pirates and kind of a small group of mercenaries hired by Roman, but Lazarevich has overthrown literal governments. He has his own private army at his beck and call. The stakes are completely against us this time. I mean, even in the first game, yeah, realistically, we were at a disadvantage. it never felt too impossible. I mean, even Elena at one point said something about us being fine. But in this game, there are these gunfights where we're just barely making it out alive. Nowhere is this probably shown better than the entirety of the train sequence. I mean, it starts off with us pinned down in a train yard waiting for Elena to rescue us. Then we proceed to barely make it onto the moving train and get separated from Elena, forced to carry on by ourselves. Then we have to fight our way across all these train cars dealing with enemies, an attack helicopter, railway signs, this guy, and then we finally get back together with Chloe, only to take a bullet in the stomach. And this isn't just a normal bullet like the ones we take during gameplay. This is the dreaded cutscene bullet. The only time during Uncharted games where guns work as well as intended. All that? Yeah, all that? That was only 3 chapters. This game is full of these set pieces that the series has kind of become known for. I mean, the first game had a couple, but the sequels is where they truly embrace the craziness that Drake faces in life. I mean, we're just getting thrown around ragdoll physics the entire game, and it leads to times when the characters talk about how they should just walk away from this and forget the treasure. And, you know, after seeing what they have to deal with, honestly, at times I was like, yeah, you know, I'd be content to just stop here. Just pack it up. We're going home. Screw you, Naughty Dog. I don't want to see what else the game has to offer. But, alas, our hero is too noble to quit. Also, the treasure itself has to have some sort of deeper meaning, right? I mean, yeah, the Chitamani stone, it would be worth tons of money, a sapphire that big, but what does a guy like Lazarevich need with money? And considering how he treats all these ancient tombs and civilizations, I don't really think preservation is in his vocabulary. But one of the reasons I think the sequel shines so well is in location. First game, we're pretty much on one island the whole time. Scenery changed a little bit, but to be honest, not really too often. But this game feels a lot more like a globe-trotting adventure, you know, kind of more akin to something like Indiana Jones. We go from cities, to ruins, to mountains, to prison. I mean, they all have their own character, and each one is full of secrets and puzzles. And, you know, normally I'm not that big into puzzles in these games. I mean, they're usually just kind of there to give you a break between all the action, just have little character moments, yada yada. But I swear, no matter how many times I play this game, that one giant Purba dagger puzzle, mwah, it'll never cease to amaze me. Now, I know I've literally just been saying how everything in this game is better than the first so far. Well, I mean, because it is, so let's continue. So after all this stuff that I've been raving about, we still have to talk about Shambhala. The entirety of the climax of this game, I could honestly just label as pretty much perfect. The descent into Shambhala, being ambushed by Lazarevich's men and the Guardians, who are just a pain to kill, and slowly learning the truth of what Lazarevich is actually after. You see, these Guardians are human, to an extent, but they've been eating that resin that we keep finding throughout the game. The Chintamani stone isn't actually a giant sapphire, it's amber, and the sap from this tree of life is what's creating this sort of super serum that the Guardians are hopped up on. Lazarevich isn't here for money. He's looking for a shot at immortality and the possibility to create an army of super soldiers. After learning the truth and also having Flynn critically wound Elena before taking himself out, Drake still decides that he has to stop Lazarevich, and even Chloe, who's super gung-ho about just leaving, I think even she kind of realized in the end that Lazarevich needs to be stopped and tells Drake she'll watch Elena while we move on to stop Lazarevich.
He's mine. Sorry, pal. You're not my type. No, you have got to be kidding me. Oh, shit.
Yeah, you already know what I'm about to say. Lazarevich just has a way better boss battle than Navarro. Probably because, you know, they made it into a real fight instead of a quick time event. So, after Lazarevich pulls a Captain America, he chases us around this small arena with a shotgun. This is honestly really intense, as while the fight goes on, Lazarevich will also permanently blow up some of the resin deposits, and, you know, also begin Olympic tossing crates of grenades at you. I mean, I wasn't even playing on that hard a difficulty, and this fight was still giving me some issues. I've heard there is a way to easily cheese this fight, but I kind of encourage you to do it normally, at least once. I mean, it's a lot more climactic, and it really feels great once you finally take him down.
You think I am a monster, but you're no different from me, Drake. How many men have you killed? How many just today? That's it, boy. No compassion, no mercy. Do it!
No.
You don't have the will.
Maybe not. But they do.
But hey, let's not forget, we are still playing Uncharted 2. You don't just get to beat the boss and be done with it. Nah, we got one final bridge escape set piece for ya. So after once again cheating death and making it out, we see Drake at a funeral. We say goodbye to Chloe for a while and meet up with Elena? Yeah, it turns out the funeral was for Schaefer, not Elena. Drake and Elena continue their usual banter, and that marks the end of Drake's second journey. Phew. That was a lot of gushing, huh? But honestly, this game kinda deserves it in my opinion. I mean, they managed to literally just take everything great about the first game and improve it all tenfold. If you're looking for a finely crafted third-person shooter to play, look no further. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Twin Dragos, and I'll see you guys next time.